Once upon a time, in a small town nestled between green hills and clear blue skies, there was a girl named Maya. Maya had a dream to master the English language. She believed that learning English would open up a world of opportunities for her. Maya's journey began at her local library, a quaint building filled with the scent of old books and the quiet whispers of knowledge. She started with simple books, ones with pictures and easy words. Cat, dog, apple, she would repeat, her voice a soft murmur in the silence of the library. Days turned into weeks, and weeks into months. Maya's dedication never wavered. She moved on from picture books to children's stories, her fingers tracing the lines as she slowly read each word. Once upon a time, she read aloud, the words feeling like magic on her tongue. The librarian, Mrs. Lotta, noticed Maya's persistence and took a special interest in her. "You're doing great, Maya," she would say, her smile as warm as the afternoon sun. "Keep going, and you'll see, the world will open up for you." Encouraged by Mrs. Lotta's words, Maya continued her quest. She started writing too, simple sentences at first. "I am Maya. I love books." Every sentence was a step forward, every word a triumph. As Maya's vocabulary grew, so did her confidence. She began to form friendships with other learners, and they would practice together, laughing at their mistakes and cheering each other on. They were a tapestry of determination, each thread woven with dreams and aspirations. Maya's journey was not without challenges. There were days when the words seemed to jumble up, making no sense at all. But she pressed on, driven by the vision of a future where she could speak and write fluently in English. As the seasons changed, so did Maya's determination. She discovered English podcasts and would listen to them while walking to the library. The voices of native speakers became her companions, guiding her through the intricacies of pronunciation and intonation. One day, Mrs. Lotta handed Maya a worn-out copy of Pride and Prejudice. "This is a classic," Mrs. Lotta said, her eyes twinkling. "Read it, and you'll fall in love with the English language even more." Maya took the book home, its pages yellowed with age. She read about Elizabeth Bennet and Mr. Darcy, their witty exchanges and the dance of courtship. The words flowed like a river, carrying her away to a world of ballrooms and secret glances. But Maya's journey wasn't all about books. She joined an English-speaking club at the community center. There, she met people from different walks of life, engineers, artists, retirees, all united by their desire to improve their English. They would sit in a circle, sharing stories, laughing, and stumbling over words. Maya felt a sense of belonging she had never experienced before. Her vocabulary expanded further. She learned idioms and expressions. "Break a leg," they would say before a performance, and Maya would nod, understanding that it meant good luck. She practiced speaking in front of a mirror, mimicking the confident tones of news anchors. One summer, the town hosted an international festival. Flags fluttered, and stalls offered food from around the world. Maya volunteered to help at the information booth. Tourists would approach her, asking for directions or recommendations. She would smile and respond, her heart racing with excitement. Each interaction was a victory, a chance to put her learning into practice. As the years went by, Maya's English improved. She wrote essays, participated in debates, and even gave a speech at the town hall. People admired her courage, but Maya knew it was more than that. It was the culmination of countless hours spent with books, podcasts, and patient friends. One day, Mrs. Lotta handed Maya a letter. It was an invitation to a university in a distant city. They had read Maya's essays and were impressed. "You have a gift," the letter said. "We believe you can make a difference." Maya packed her bags, her heart full of gratitude. She hugged Mrs. Lotta, who wiped away a tear. "Remember," Mrs. Lotta whispered, "learning never ends." And so, Maya embarked on a new chapter. She stepped onto the train, her dreams riding alongside her. The wheels clacked, the landscape blurred, and Maya looked out of the window, knowing that her journey was just beginning. Maya stepped off the train, her heart racing. The city was a whirlwind of noise and color. Tall buildings reached for the sky, their windows reflecting sunlight like shards of glass. People hurried past, their footsteps blending into a symphony of purpose. She had arrived at the university, a place where knowledge flowed like a river. Maya's room was small, but it held a promise. She unpacked her bags, placing her worn-out copy of Pride and Prejudice on the desk. It was a reminder of how far she had come. The classes were challenging. Professors spoke in rapid English, their words weaving intricate patterns. Maya took notes, her pen dancing across the paper. She joined study groups, discussing literature, science, and philosophy. Each conversation was a puzzle, and she relished the challenge. In the library, she discovered a treasure trove. Books lined the shelves, their spines whispering secrets. Maya read about history, art, and the mysteries of the cosmos. She borrowed novels, losing herself in worlds far beyond her own. But it wasn't just the classroom that taught her. The city itself was a teacher. She wandered through its streets, eavesdropping on conversations, absorbing slang and colloquialisms. "Catch you later," a skateboarder would say, and Maya would smile, knowing it meant goodbye. She volunteered at a community center, helping immigrants like herself. They shared stories, their journeys, their dreams. Maya listened, her heart swelling with empathy. She taught them phrases. "How's it going?" "Nice to meet you." And they would practice, their accents merging into a chorus of hope. One day, she met Alex, a fellow student with a passion for photography. They explored the city together, capturing moments. A street musician strumming a guitar, a couple sharing a kiss by the river. Alex taught her about composition, and she taught him about metaphors. They laughed, their friendship blooming like a rare flower. Maya's writing improved too. She submitted essays, won awards, and even started a blog. Her posts resonated with readers from different corners of the world. They would comment, "Your words touched my soul," or "I feel less alone because of you." Maya realized that language was a bridge, one that connected hearts across oceans. As graduation approached, Maya stood on a stage, her diploma in hand. The auditorium was filled with applause, and she looked out at the faces, friends, professors, strangers. She had become a storyteller, weaving words into tapestries of meaning. Mrs. Lotta was there too, her eyes shining. "You did it, Maya," she whispered. "But remember, this is just the beginning." And so, Maya stepped into the world. A world where English was more than a language. It was a passport to adventure, a key to understanding, a song waiting to be sung. Maya's graduation opened doors she had never imagined. She received job offers from multinational companies, each email a testament to her hard work. She chose a position at an international organization, a place where English was the lingua franca. Her office was a bustling hive of activity. Colleagues from different countries sat side by side, their laptops glowing like constellations. Maya attended meetings, her notepad filling with acronyms and action items. "FYI," her boss would say, and Maya would nod, understanding that it meant, "for your information." She traveled too, across continents, through time zones. Airports became her second home, their announcements a symphony of destinations. Flight 237 to London, the intercom would announce, and Maya would board, her heart racing with anticipation. In London, she marveled at the architecture, the ancient spires and the modern glass towers. She visited the British Museum, standing before the Rosetta Stone, a key to deciphering ancient languages. Maya thought about her own journey, a stone etched with determination. Her colleagues became friends. They would gather after work, sharing stories over pints of beer. "Cheers," they would say, clinking glasses. Maya learned about their cultures, their festivals, their customs. She celebrated Diwali with Ravi from India, danced the tango with Maria from Argentina, and tasted sushi with Hiroshi from Japan. But it wasn't all smooth sailing. Maya faced challenges too. There were days when she felt like a small boat lost at sea. Technical jargon baffled her, and conference calls were a maze of echoes. Yet, she persevered. She asked questions, sought guidance, and learned to navigate the currents. Her writing flourished. She authored reports, policy briefs, and blog posts. Her words reached policymakers, activists, and students. Maya realized that language was power, a force that could shape minds and move mountains. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, Maya stood on a rooftop in New York City. The skyline stretched before her, a tapestry of dreams. She thought about Mrs. Lotta, the library, and the girl she used to be. Tears blurred her vision, but they were tears of gratitude. Maya's journey continued, a global odyssey fueled by curiosity and courage. She knew that learning never ended. She read books, watched documentaries, and listened to podcasts. And when she spoke, her voice carried the echoes of 1,000 stories. Maya's career took her to distant lands: Japan, Brazil, South Africa. She marveled at cherry blossoms in Kyoto, danced the samba in Rio de Janeiro, and stood before the cradle of humankind in Johannesburg. Each place whispered its secrets, and Maya listened. In Tokyo, she met Hiroshi again, the same Hiroshi from her early days of learning English. He had become a successful entrepreneur, his laughter echoing through the bustling streets. "Maya," he said, "our journey continues. They sat in a traditional tea house, sipping matcha. Hiroshi spoke about resilience, the way bamboo bent but never broke. Maya thought about her own journey, the setbacks, the doubts. She realized that learning was like bamboo, a flexible strength. Maya's writing evolved too. She authored a novel, a tale of love and loss across cultures. Readers praised her prose, saying it touched their hearts. Maya knew that stories were bridges. They connected people across time and space. One day, she received an email, a message from Mrs. Lotta. The old librarian had retired, but her spirit lived on. Maya, the email read, "You've made us proud. Keep writing, keep learning." And so, Maya did. She wrote essays, poems, and letters to her future self. She explored quantum physics, learned sign language, and even took up salsa dancing. Life was a canvas, and Maya painted it with curiosity. As the years passed, Maya became a mentor. She taught English to refugees, their eyes wide with hope. Language is freedom, she told them. Learn it, and you'll find your wings. Her hair turned silver, but her spirit remained young. She traveled less, but her mind roamed galaxies. She read about black holes, string theory, and the mysteries of existence. Maya wondered if the universe itself was a language, a cosmic symphony waiting to be deciphered. And then, one quiet evening, as rain tapped against her window, Maya sat down to write. She penned a letter to herself, to the girl she used to be. It was a letter of gratitude, for the library, the books, the people who believed in her. Dear Maya, she wrote, you are a constellation of words. Keep shining. And so, Maya's journey continued. A journey of learning, of wonder, of becoming. Maya's fame spread beyond borders. She became a guest speaker at conferences, her words echoing in grand halls. People would gather, their eyes wide with anticipation. Tell us your story, they would say, and Maya would step onto the stage, her heart a constellation of nerves. She spoke about resilience, the way language could heal wounds and bridge divides. She shared anecdotes, the time she stumbled over entrepreneur during a job interview, or the day she accidentally ordered snails instead of escargot at a fancy restaurant. The audience laughed, their laughter like stardust. Maya received invitations from universities, libraries, and even TEDx events. She traveled to distant cities, her suitcase filled with memories. In Paris, she stood before the Eiffel Tower, its iron lattice reaching for the sky. In Beijing, she tasted dumplings, their flavors a symphony on her tongue. Everywhere she went, she carried her love for words, their weight, their magic. But it wasn't just about speaking. Maya listened too. She sat with elders in remote villages, their stories etched in wrinkles. They spoke of wars, of lost loves, of dreams deferred. Maya recorded their words, preserving them like ancient manuscripts. Language, she realized, is a vessel for memory. Back home, she visited Mrs. Lotta. The old librarian was now in a nursing home, her eyes clouded with age. But when Maya entered, Mrs. Lotta's face lit up. Maya, she whispered, you're still writing. Maya read to her, the latest chapter of her life. Mrs. Lotta listened, her fingers tracing invisible lines. "You've become a constellation," she said. "A constellation of stories." And then, one day, as Maya sat by the window, watching the stars, she received a letter. It was from a young girl, a girl who had read Maya's blog, her heart hungry for words. "Dear Maya," the letter began, "your journey inspires me. I want to learn English too." Maya wrote back, a letter filled with encouragement. She told the girl about libraries, podcasts, and the joy of stumbling upon new words. "Language," she wrote, "is a garden. Plant seeds, water them, and watch them bloom." The girl replied, a letter that danced across continents. "Thank you," she wrote. "I'll keep learning." And so, Maya's legacy continued, a ripple in the river of time. She knew that language was more than grammar and syntax. It was a bridge between souls, a compass in the wilderness, a lighthouse guiding ships through storms. As the years passed, Maya sat on her porch, her gaze fixed on the night sky. The stars blinked, their ancient light reaching her across eons. She thought about Hiroshi, Mrs. Lotta, and all the people who had shaped her journey. Their voices were constellations, guiding her, reminding her that learning never ended. And so, Maya whispered her own story, a story of words, of wonder, of becoming. She knew that somewhere out there, another girl was listening, her heart hungry for stars. The years had woven wisdom into Maya's soul. She had become a beacon of inspiration, her story a symphony that resonated with many. Her blog had transformed into a platform for learners worldwide, a space where stories and experiences were shared. Maya often reflected on her journey. She remembered the early days, the struggle with each new word, each unfamiliar phrase. Now, those same words were friends, each one a note in the melody of her life. She started a podcast, The Language of Dreams, where she invited guests from various backgrounds to share their linguistic adventures. The podcast became a hit, a chorus of voices from around the globe, each episode a celebration of diversity and determination. In one episode, she interviewed a young poet from Nigeria, whose words painted pictures of sunsets and savannas. In another, she spoke with a scientist from Norway, who explained complex theories in simple terms. Each guest brought a unique rhythm to the symphony of language. Maya also began teaching. She stood before eager students, her eyes alight with passion. "Language," she would say, "is the key to unlocking worlds. It's not just about grammar, it's about connection, about understanding the heartbeats of different cultures." Her students adored her. They saw in her a mentor, a guide who had traversed the path they now embarked upon. Maya taught them idioms, proverbs, and the subtle dance of dialects. She encouraged them to make mistakes, to learn from them, and to grow. But Maya's greatest lesson was beyond words. It was about empathy, about listening to the stories behind the words. She taught her students to hear the unspoken, to understand that every person's voice was a story waiting to be told. As she grew older, Maya decided to write her memoir. It was a collection of essays, each one a snapshot of her journey. She wrote about the laughter and the tears, the triumphs and the setbacks. She wrote about the people who had touched her life, the librarian, the friends, the strangers who had become part of her story. The memoir was a bestseller, touching the hearts of readers everywhere. People wrote to her, saying how her story had inspired them to pursue their own dreams. Maya realized that her words had wings, that they flew across oceans and deserts, reaching souls in search of light. In the twilight of her years, Maya sat on her porch, a blanket draped over her knees. She looked up at the stars, those ancient storytellers. She thought about the girl she once was, the woman she had become. She whispered a thank you to the universe, to the language that had given her so much. And as the stars twinkled above, Maya knew that her symphony of words would continue to echo, long after her voice had faded into the silence. As the seasons turned, Maya's hair grew whiter, but her eyes remained as bright as ever. She had lived a life rich with words, a life that had touched countless others. Now, it was time to pen the final verse of her story. She gathered her memories, each one a precious gem. She remembered the first book she had read, the first word she had spoken, and the first time she had felt the thrill of understanding. Her journey with the English language had been long and fulfilling, and she was grateful for every step. Maya decided to host one last event, an international gathering of language learners and teachers. They came from all corners of the earth, each carrying their own tales of linguistic triumph. The event was a mosaic of accents and smiles, a celebration of the universal bond of language. She stood before the crowd, her voice steady and clear. Language, she said, is more than a tool. It's a gift. It connects us, empowers us, and helps us to see the world through the eyes of others. It's a journey that never truly ends. The audience listened, hanging on to every word. Maya spoke of her adventures, her challenges, and the joy she had found in every new word learned. She encouraged them to continue their own journeys, to never stop exploring the vast expanse of language. As the event came to a close, Maya felt a sense of completion. She had shared her story, and now it was time for others to write their own. She passed the torch to the next generation, her legacy a beacon of hope and inspiration. In the quiet of her study, Maya wrote one last blog post. It was a message to all who had followed her journey. Dear friends, as I write these final words, I am filled with gratitude. Language has been my companion, my teacher, and my friend. It has allowed me to share my story with you, and in return, you have shared yours with me. Remember that every word you speak, every sentence you write, is a brushstroke on the canvas of life. Be bold, be curious, and be kind. For in the end, it is our words that remain, long after we are gone. Thank you for being a part of my journey. May your words always be a source of strength and joy. With love, Maya. With that, Maya closed her laptop. She looked out the window, where the first stars of the evening were beginning to twinkle. She smiled, knowing that her story was complete, but the stories of others were just beginning. And in the silence of her room, the symphony of words continued to play, a melody that would resonate forever in the hearts of those who had listened.